Back from D.C. with Buck Martinez, Matt Vasgersian, and right to A.J. Hinch's starting lineup card for Game 5 of the Fall Classic this year. He'll lead it off the same way he has throughout the series with Springer, Altuve, and Brantley. Alex Bregman set a World Series record for RBIs in a single game by a third baseman last night with 5 driven in. Gurriel and Alvarez follow. Yordan Alvarez making his first start in D.C. in this portion of the series. He's only appeared in the outfield 9 times during the regular season. It'll be Correa, Maldonado, and Cole to round it out. And it is time for Joe Ross to take the ball, something he didn't think he'd be doing a few days ago.
No, not at all. He's a 26-year-old right-hander, former #1 pick of the San Diego Padres. He came in a trade along with Trey Turner from San Diego. He has thrown the ball well in this series. He came in relief in Game 3. 2 real good innings. He allowed just no runs on 1 hit, and he's got a good fastball. But the key for him, he's got to get ahead with that fastball to really neutralize this potent lineup.
Springer, Altuve, and Brantley in Game 5 is underway with the strike. In a World Series that has seen a number of new Fall Classic records set, it's been a while since one team has used as many as 5 starters in a World Series. Got to go back to the 1980 Phillies to find the last time that took place, and Joe Ross making 5 starters in 5 games on the mound for the Nationals tonight.
Patrick Corbin started, went 6 innings in the game last night, and he really jumped on Corbin early in this game. Very aggressive. They had 4 consecutive hits, all coming with 1 out in the first, and they scored a couple of runs. This is a good 2-seam fastball right here that jams George Springer.
If we thought this place was electric for Games 3 and 4, this switch to Joe Ross has really energized the fan base here as they're doing their best to empower a 26-year-old without a lot of big game experience.
You had mentioned that when Joe Ross came out of the Astos dugout and went toward the bullpen to get ready to warm up, the crowd stood on his feet and gave him a terrific round of applause. And they're really behind this team right now, even though they have lost the 2 games here in Washington.
2 balls and 2 strikes is the count to George Springer. An unseasonably mild evening yet again in our nation's capital. 72 degrees. It was shirt sleeves and shorts throughout the afternoon, and barely a need for a jacket tonight. Just a gorgeous evening for baseball. The 2-2.
Now you can see that Springer's late on that fastball, so Ross's fastball, a little play, and he's been able to get it in the strike zone early in this at bat. There are no restrictions on innings or pitch count for him. He made 8 starts from the 2nd of August to the end of the season, so they're confident as long as he's effective, they'll stay with him.
The 2-2 home. And it'll go all the way to a full count. Remember how the night started yesterday for Patrick Corbin with an 8-pitch at bat. Jose Altuve next.
Springer was called out on strikes to start that inning, and then the roof caved in on Corbin. 4 straight hits and a couple of runs for Houston.
He's got a sign from Gomes. Here's the 3-2 home, and it's rocketed foul. You know, you saw the numbers on Joe Ross just a moment ago. 9 starting assignments this year. He's made a total of 12 starts in the last 2 seasons. The small total in part due to recovering from Tommy John surgery. Much of last year he had that procedure in July of 2017. Most of his appearances this year have come in relief. Wow, and he just misses to George Springer.
Boy, that's a good pitch just off the outside corner. The strike zone in this series, especially here in Washington, has been very tight strike zone. That ball looked like it passed through the strike zone at some point there. Yan Gomes receives it just off the plate. Home plate umpire Lance Barksdale calling balls and strikes tonight.
Gary Soderstrom, the crew chief who had the plate for Game 3, is up the left field line tonight. And again, the veteran Lance Barksdale behind the plate. So the leadoff walk brings up Jose Altuve. 2 more hits for Altuve yesterday, making him 8 for 20 in 4 World Series games so far this year. First pitch ground ball for Turner. Taylor made for 2.
That'll let everybody breathe in this ballpark. A double play, and they get Altuve. He goes after that first pitch, and it's a tailor-made double play ball to the shortstop. Boy, after the leadoff walk, this is a terrific play for the Nationals. No problem at all. Turner with a nice flip to Howie Kendrick, who's starting at second base, and they retire Altuve on the double play. Boy, that will really allow a pitcher to settle in the first inning. A walk and a double play. Now you're facing the toughest hitter in this lineup so far in this series, and Michael Brantley with nobody on him.
8 for 17, a couple of runs batted in for the veteran left-handed hitter and 4-time All-Star. It is as tough a top of a lineup as there is in baseball, evidenced by the fact that Brantley, Springer, and Altuve are the only Astros in franchise history to record 3 straight multi-hit games within a single World Series.
Michael Brantley, just one of the best hitters in all of baseball year after year. He's got a great approach to play. Not a whole lot of movement. He never really commits early. He's anxious to target the middle of the diamond. He's going to stay up the big part of the field. 8 hits in the first 4 games.
Been almost 20 years since Todd Zeile accomplished that with the 2000 Mets and their World Series loss to the Yankees. And it's a ball and 2 strikes to Michael Brantley. Part of the reason that the Nationals are confident in Joe Ross is that now that he's healthy and recovered from Tommy John surgery, full 2 years away from that date, he had a really good run at the end of the year. The problem is he just didn't pitch a lot from the end of the year to today. 1 outing in a month. The 2 scoreless innings Friday in Game 3. Two balls and 2 strikes.
You know, but it is possible for a pitcher to stay relatively sharp even though he doesn't pitch, unlike a hitter. A hitter's got to see live hitting, live pitching, and get his timing down. But a pitcher, he can throw on the side and stay sharp. And see his numbers. He made a start back in 2016 in the division series.
Brantley with a bouncer to the shifted Howie Kendrick, who's in the right place to get him. Nothing comes at the leadoff walk. A scoreless first by emergency starter Joe Ross. Here's what Garrett Cole looks at lining up against him for Dave Martinez and the Nationals. Turner, Eaton, and Rendon. Soto, Kendrick, and Zimmerman. Juan Soto had the big night against Cole in Game 1 Tuesday in Houston. Victor Robles, Yan Gomes, and Joe Ross rounded out for the Nationals.
29-year-old Garrett Cole took the loss in Game 1 of this World Series, his first loss since May 22nd. And the Nationals scored 5 runs off of him. He is a very competitive pitcher, a very smart pitcher, and you can bet he's studied his video from that Game 1 start. And I expect to see just a few more curveballs into the mix tonight from Garrett Cole.
Turner, Eaton, and Rendon to start things for the Nationals, and Cole's first pitch is a called strike. Trey Turner was 1 for 4 against Garrett Cole on Tuesday night. Just 3 for 18 in the series. There have been some real offensive shortcomings for the Nationals ever since this World Series got back to their home ballpark, ironically, as you take a look at the pitch distribution for Cole. And if he is to throw more curveballs tonight, that would kind of buck the season-long trend. as Turner commits, and it's 1-2.
Well, he is going to use his fastball as he's done all season long, but I think he's got to throw an occasional curveball just to put that pitch in the minds of the hitters. He hasn't allowed a first inning run in 4 postseason starts to this point, but he hasn't retired the side in order either. There's a breaking ball that missed. We had shots of Cole and Verlander in last night's game talking about this lineup for the Nationals. You can bet they were exchanging notes and thoughts about how you attack this Nationals lineup.
Full count to Turner now. A scoreless first and a full count to start the bottom of the inning as the fans on their feet. The 3-2. Garrett Cole's postseason ERA in 4 starts at 1.82 is the lowest by an American League pitcher in a single postseason since what John Lester accomplished with the 2013 Red Sox, when he had a postseason ERA slightly lower at 1.56. Turner fades a fly ball toward the stands. That'll get out of play.
Another thing that is so impressive about Garrett Cole is he's pitched at least 7 innings in each of his first 4 postseason starts, something that hasn't been done since Madison Bumgarner did in 6 starts during the 2014 postseason. So when he goes out there, he expects to pitch deep into a game.
Yeah, what made that so unusual with Bumgarner being a National League pitcher, so many opportunities to double switch and get him out of the game.
He's too good a hitter.
That's simply put. Here's the 3-2 once again, and Turner continues to spoil off pitches.
Well, this is a very confident Nationals team, even though they lost the first 2 games of this series, and then they got the bad news that Max Scherzer wasn't going to start. But sometimes those types of things will cause a team to rally around the fill-in starter, Joe Ross. Joe Ross is off to a good start, good inning under his belt.
And Cole finally takes care of Turner.
From a cutter right there, 92 miles an hour to the inside part of the plate, and Turner goes down after a long at bat.
9-pitch strikeout opens the bottom of the first for Garrett Cole.
You see that spin on that cutter. He tried to go down and away with it, but still is so hard and started on the inside part of the plate that Trey Turner swung right underneath it.
Here's Adam Eaton now. He was hitless yesterday. This will be an interesting matchup to watch all night long. A.J. Hinch telling us, the Astros manager, that they have sensed Adam Eaton looking left field the entire series. And we'll see how Garrett Cole responds to a guy that's trying to pull off and hit everything the other way.
That's the type of hitter he is, and I really respect that. He knows he's not a power guy. He's not going to hit the ball out of the ballpark, so get something up out of the plate and slap it to left field. He did that in his first at bat in game 2 against Verlander. Just got a fastball up and away. He also had a base hit in the 3rd inning in game 1 against Cole. Fastball up and away. He just lined it into left field.
Still 0-2 to Adam Eaton.
That's how you defend against a hitter that's trying to hit it to left. You throw him strikes inside. That's a difficult pitch to inside out and hit it to left. But Cole started this at bat with that good curveball. He stole the strike with that first pitch curveball. And now they throw a good pitch down and in. And all he can do is foul out.
Ball and 2 strikes on Adam Eaton. Eaton had a couple of hits against Cole on Tuesday night. 2 of the 8 surrendered by Cole. And that led to the 5 earned runs scored against him. Most damage any postseason has done against Cole this year. So ball and 2 strikes. The Nationals have already fouled off Garrett Cole 6 times tonight. I know it's early. I mean, we're only 2 at-bats into his night, but for a guy that minimizes contact, fair or foul, that seems like a pretty big total through 2 at-bats.
Yeah, he's a swing and a miss pitcher with his fastball and his breaking ball, but so far the Nationals, it's just 2 at-bats. They've been able to put the bat on the ball.
Eaton into center field. The ball pretty well hit. Springer has it in his sights, however, and makes the catch.
Boy, I love this ballpark just for that reason right there. It's a spacious ballpark, and there's plenty of room for pitchers to pitch. You keep the hitters in the middle of this ballpark, and you have good defenders. They're going to run down those hard-hit balls. And that's all pitchers ask for. Just give me a place to get a guy out if I give up contact. And this is a well-hit ball to center field, but you can see how much room Springer has. It's 402 feet to straightaway center. And it's a great pitcher's ballpark. There are a lot of spots in this ballpark that you can give up hard contact to.
Anthony Rendon had a couple of hits in last night's loss. He was hitless against Cole in game 1 and takes a strike to open his first at-bat tonight.
Now, watch how Cole attacks Anthony Rendon, and Rendon's a very good low ball hitter. He had that 2-run double off Verlander in his first at-bat in game 2 on a low changeup, but they want to elevate the fastball too. Trying to get him out. And there's another breaking ball. He's used that early.
Routine play for Springer, part of a 1-2-3 start to the night for Garrett Cole. Underway in DC in game 5. Scoreless headed to the second.
2 outs to load the bases. And then they were able to get Bregman to hit into a fielder's choice to end the inning. Well, that set up a game 4 scenario. Bases loaded, Rodney on the mound once again. And this time, Bregman gets payback. That fastball down and in. It's a grand slam home run to break the game wide open. He is one of those guys you just don't want to wake up. A sleeping dog, and they rattled his cage, and he responded. To see what he did in games 1 through 3, and in game 4, he turned things around. 5 RBIs, including that grand slam home run. And once you get him going, he's a tough guy to cool off.
Well, and he savored every moment with a rather slow lap around the bases yesterday. He'll lead things off against Joe Ross in the second. It'll be Bregman followed by Gurriel and Alvarez. A grand slam for Alex Bregman yesterday, the 20th grand slam in World Series history. Most recent before it came by Addison Russell of the Cubs in 2016.
It's surprisingly the only second grand slam home run in World Series history hit by a third baseman. The other grand slam home run hit by the Cardinals' great Ken Boyer in 1964 against Al Downing and the Yankees.
2 balls and no strikes to Bregman. That one's lined out to left. Carries for Soto. I kept chasing him.
Yeah, ball's carrying very well tonight. We saw that earlier in this ball game when Eaton hit one deep to center field. The wind has kind of died down a bit, but the ball's jumping, and it's a warm night, as you mentioned. The ball's going to carry tonight. But another good swing off the bat of Alex Bregman.
Here's Yuli Gurriel now 1 for 4 with an RBI yesterday. The hit yesterday for Gurriel, his 42nd career postseason hit. And that passed Tony Perez for the second most by a Cuban-born player in Major League history. Yasiel Puig is the record holder with 51. A function of more postseason opportunities, more games played now than in the Hall of Famer Tony Perez's day. 2 balls and no strikes to count to Gurriel. Ross fell behind Bregman 2-0. Does the same to the second hitter he faces here. Gurriel tops it past Ross. Turner's got to hurry. He won't have a play either. And that's the first base hit of the ball game.
Now, once it went off the glove of the pitcher, Joe Ross, it was kind of a do-or-die situation. And Trey Turner tried to barehand it, but couldn't make the play. It'll be an infield hit for Gurriel, his 43rd postseason hit. And Turner knows this. The only chance to throw him out is to barehand it, but he couldn't come up with the ball. So it's a one-out single here in the second.
So that'll bring up tonight's Astros left fielder Yordan Alvarez, a player who saw the overwhelming majority of his time during his rookie season this year as a designated hitter. But A.J. Hinch wanted his bat in the lineup for Game 5, and this was not an inclusion specific to Joe Ross. Alvarez was in there whether it was Scherzer, Ross, or anybody else.
It's really kind of interesting, too. You saw the numbers for Alvarez, just 204 for the postseason. It's not like he's really swinging a hot bat, and they sacrifice a lot of defense when outfield defense in this ballpark is really important. He's only played 10 games in the outfield all season long, and he's a natural first baseman. That's what he played in Cuba.
Gurriel at first with one gone.
But not only do you challenge Alvarez defensively in left field, you move Michael Brantley from left field to right field. He's only played 9 games in right field in his career.
The horizontal strike zone numbers for Alvarez. About the only place you can go to be safe is the outer third of the plate. He's pinch hit in each of the first 2 games of the series here. 3 for 6 in 2 starts in Houston. And now it's 2 balls and a strike as Ross falls behind now all 3 hitters he's faced to open the second.
Alvarez had a terrific regular season at .313, but the end of the year and into the postseason, he was moving an awful lot, moving his head, moving his body toward the pitcher, creating a lot of problems.
Well hit to center field. Robles can go get it with the best of them, but nobody's going to go up and get that ball. And the decision to start Yordan Alvarez has already paid off for the Astros. I mean, that got out of here like a 2-iron in about 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, we talked about how well the ball was carrying, but Alvarez with tremendous power in a big part of the field had 27 home runs in a regular season. And you saw his weakest part of the strike zone is away, but boy, did he stay on that pitch. And he's got so much power that he can hit it out of any ballpark in any direction. And boy, that's a great start for Houston. A couple of Cubans connecting an infield single and a 2-run home run.
Here's Carlos Correa.
They threw it in a good spot, 95 miles an hour, down and away, but Alvarez is so strong. When he puts the barrel on the ball, not many ballparks going to hold this, and Robles identified that it was at least going to be off the wall, and it carried right out of the ballpark.
Houston has scored first in every game played here in D.C. Some of the window dressing numbers, yeah, was hit hard. Got out of here on a line to center field. Correa's late. Ball and 2 strikes. This really is, the Astros really do possess what in the minds of many during the regular season, Buck, was the most complete lineup 1 through 9 in either league.
No question about it. They've got balance, they've got power, they've got speed. Lefty power, righty power, up and down the order.
And Correa's a strikeout victim on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, Correa strikes out for the 24th time this postseason. His timing is a little bit off. He missed a lot of time this season with a couple different injuries. He's not the hitter we have seen the last several years right at this time.
Two gone with 2 runs in now for tonight's catcher Martin Maldonado. Maldonado making his first start in the DC portion of the series. 1 for 4 with a pinch hit homer in the 2 games in Houston. And Maldonado behind 0-2. The Astros have now hit at least 1 home run in each of their last 12 World Series games. That's the longest streak of its kind by any team in World Series history. Ball and 2 strikes.
For Alvarez, that's his first postseason home run. He's now driven in 3 runs in the postseason. And A.J. Hinch, he knows his players. He liked the matchup to get Alvarez into this game. And remember, Alvarez was going to start against Max Scherzer. He was going to be in there no matter what. And he comes up with a big hit early.
Off the end of the bat for Ross. Maldonado retired. But once again, the Astros, who've scored 9 runs in this series in the first 2 innings combined, do it again early. And it's the Cuban-born rookie Yordan Alvarez who supplies the power. To the bottom of the second, 2-0 Houston.
In left field as well, but since then they've changed their approach a bit on it. They pitched him very tough. He had 3 strikeouts in the game last night. They have shown him an awful lot of strikes on the inside part of the plate since that first game down in Houston.
Remembering that night, Cole struck him out in his first plate appearance on 3 fastballs. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. And then, as you mentioned, the breaking balls away were of the variety that Soto had no problem with. And he went on to double and homer in his next 2 at-bats. Here's Cole's 1-1. The fastball stays up and in.
Trying to come inside, make him aware of that inside part of the plate to keep him from diving and covering that outside pitch. Soto lined out to Bregman in the shift in his first at bat last night against Urquidy.
And there's a base hit to the right. First base runner of the game for the Nationals.
Martin Maldonado followed Soto up the first base line, and I love that from a catcher. You never know, especially with a very aggressive player like Soto. He takes a big turn around first, but Soto makes the adjustment and gets to that inside fastball. He makes a big turn around first, and there's Martin Maldonado, just in case he takes an extra step towards second base. Good hustle, good play. That used to be standard operating procedure years ago.
Here's Howie Kendrick now. That's into right center field. Soto wraps around to third. Here come the Nats.
Obviously, the managers know their respective teams and players very well, and I was a little bit surprised that Howie Kendrick was back in the lineup against Cole. He had 3 strikeouts in an 0-for-4 night last night, but Dave Martinez didn't hesitate, put him right back in the lineup, and Kendricks comes through for him with a base hit in his first at bat.
Kendrick had all kinds of trouble with Cole on Tuesday night. He was 0-for-4 with 3 strikeouts. Washington's in business here in the second. Runners at the corners, nobody out for Ryan Zimmerman. Sliders in for a strike.
The Nationals have to score one of these two base runners. If they're going to stay with the Astros in this series, they've got to take advantage of this situation. They were really handcuffed last night. Just 4 hits, scored a single run, but they've got Cole on the ropes early in this second inning.
Well, Houston happy to concede the run for a pair of outs as you take a look at Cole once again turn over a slider. They're playing in double play depth. They'll concede Soto if they can get the ground ball to clean up a pair of outs. Zimmerman homered against Cole on Tuesday. See that note what Cole does with big leads. It doesn't happen very often that he gives one up when it's of 2 or more runs, as was the case on Tuesday in Game 1.
Yeah, that was the big surprise because he was staked to a 2-0 lead, and they tied it up with that Soto home run in the 4th, 2-2, and then they would go on and score 3 in the 5th.
And Zimmerman's a strikeout victim as Cole finishes him off with a slider.
You got to put the ball in play there, and Zimmerman hasn't been the same hitter since he had to bail out in the 5th inning of Game 3 on Josh James. That fastball up around his head, and this ball is way off the plate, and you can see he waves at it. Another breaking ball, and Cole's thrown a few breaking balls early in this game.
Yeah, that was actually his knuckle curveball that he got him with. He's kept that one in his pocket until now.
Yeah, we had talked about the possibility that he was going to use that a little more tonight, and it serves him well.
So here's Victor Robles, a very tough man to double up. In over 600 plate appearances, Robles bounced into a double play on only 6 occasions.
Boy,
oh boy,
Maldonado got crossed up, and he was fortunate he was able to catch that thing, and he caught it in an awkward position in his hand. You could see him take his catcher's mitt off his hand as that ball caught him flush in that left hand. Trying to get the feeling back in his fingers.
Cole's given him a moment by walking around the back of the mound now. Same with home plate umpire Lance Barksdale. Leadoff singles by Soto and Kendrick. A strikeout to Zimmerman. Oh, and 2.
Now this has been a problem for the Nationals in these last 2 games. Just 1 for 19 with runners in scoring position. Well, you got to put the bat on the ball. Have productive at bats. Zimmerman struck out. 1st and 3rd, nobody out. And now Cole's ahead of Robles.
He gets ahead of him 0-2 on a fastball and a slider. The bouncer to shortstop. Correa to Altuve. Back to Gurriel. The Astros turn to double play. Washington kept off the scoreboard despite singles to lead off the inning. A masterful job of pitching out of trouble by 20-game winner Garrett Cole. The Nats' home frustrations continue. Still 2-0 Astros. He struck out Ryan Zimmerman and then doubled off a very difficult man to double off in Victor Robles. So Cole, for his efforts, will lead off in the top of the 3rd. And on the first pitch, a chopper for Rendon. Have not been many one-pitch outs in this series. And there's been a lot of discussion about the nature of the plate appearances here. A lot of grinder at-bats, long, deep counts, a ton of full counts, 15 of them in Game 3. What you just saw has been rare.
Well, and that's what you want to do with the pitcher's spot. Be aggressive, make him put the bat on the ball, and try to retire him in as few pitches as possible. Economize on that pitch count. Haas has already thrown 33 pitches in this ball game.
So the top of the order now, George Springer. I read a weird factoid today of the many things that get generated during a World Series. George Springer is one of the 6 players in Major League Baseball this year with at least 50 RBIs who scored as many runs as he drove in. Another good play by Rendon. 96 RBIs, 96 runs scored. One of the other players to have accomplished that, again, there were only 6, is in this game as well. Juan Soto, 110 runs driven in, 110 runs scored.
Well, I think it's the best true measure of a ball player's value is how many runs you score and how many you knock in. How do you keep score? How do you determine who wins? By as many times as you cross the plate. So guys that can get on base and score a lot of runs and also drive in runs, they're pretty valuable.
2 quick outs for Joe Ross, and now Jose Altuve, who grounded into a double play in the first. Altuve now 8 for 21 with 3 doubles in the first 4+ games of the postseason, of this series that is. For the postseason, hitting .360. It's not the batting average, but the number of hits that we draw your attention to. He has 23 postseason hits. That means he's got a shot at a single season postseason record. 26 by Pablo Sandoval for the World Series winning Giants in 2014. That's extraordinary because the World Series that year lasted only 4 games. Broke his bat, and a flare that's going to drop in for a base hit. 2 hits away from tying the record.
They can just flat out hit. It doesn't make any difference where the pitch is, how hard he hits it, whether he hits it on the barrel or on the handle. He has a knack for getting hits. I talked to Altuve today about when you learned how to hit. He said, I learned how to hit as a kid. I said, well, you're not into launch angle and exit velo? He said, I didn't know what exit velo was until last year.
Yeah, I don't think he'd really be too impressed with the exit velo there. That was a 58-mile-an-hour flare.
Placed beautifully.
You know, exit velo is fun when it is applicable. If there's a starting pitcher that is constantly inducing broken bats and soft contact, his average exit velocity against is intriguing to me. But the way baseball statistics are going and the way that community speaks louder and louder every year, we're compelled to give you exit velo on every single batted ball. It's not always relevant.
No, not at all. I mean, your eyes can tell you how hard the ball's hit. The players will tell you how hard the ball is hit. There's balls that skip past infield. There's one hoppers into the outfield. Pretty easily you could tell it's going to be around 100 miles an hour off the bat.
Michael Brantley not among the Astro hitters to have faced Ross in his relief stint here Friday. Grounded out in his first at-bat against him tonight. And no sooner do we finish marveling at Jose Altuve's bat-to-ball skills than we fawn over the same regarding Michael Brantley.
Yeah, he's just a great hitter. 3 hits in the game. Scored a couple of runs in last night's game. His 3rd straight multi-hit game. 5th straight game with a base hit in the postseason.
Altuve runs. Brantley sends a fly ball into center. Can of corn, as they say, for Victor Robles to retire the side. Nothing comes of the 2-out single. Heading to the bottom of inning number 3, and a 2-0 Houston lead. Is a top 10 total for the most in a single postseason. Curt Schilling owns the record with 56. A double-digit strikeout game tonight could claim second place on the all-time list for Gerrit Cole, should he get there. He'll go to work on the 8, 9, and top of the order hitters here in the Nationals. Third, Gomes, Ross, and Turner.
Well, Cole can really pitch, and there's no doubt about that. He had a terrific season, a 20-win season, but back-to-back singles for the Nationals to start the bottom of the 2nd inning, and they couldn't score a run. 1st and 3rd, nobody out. He got a strikeout and a double play, and he just knows how to pitch out of jams. There's another slider, hard breaking ball at 90 miles an hour. But he never panics, and yeah, he's the rare exception. He throws at 98. He's got great command. He's got 4 different pitches, and he can locate them all. So you never really have an easy at bat against Gerrit Cole. That's what's so surprising, that the Nationals scored 5 against him in game 1. But boy, they had a golden opportunity to get on the board, and that's what you want to do early in the game, especially against a thoroughbred pitcher like Gerrit Cole. If he gives you an opportunity, you've got to cash in every chance you have, and they're 0 for 2 already tonight, and runners in scoring position. Zimmerman struck out, and then Robles hit into a double play.
Yeah, you said it. Runners at the corners, nobody out. They had to score at least 1. 2 and 2 now to Gomes. There's been quite a difference between the Nationals' 2 road games in this series and their 2 home games here. First 2 games of the series at Minute Maid Park, they hit .307, scored 17 runs. 2 games here, they've hit .194 and scored 2 runs, and there's 1 gone here in the 3rd.
You know, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact they were playing their first World Series game here at home. And of course, everybody wants to get in on the action. Families come into town. You've got a lot of families around. Everybody wants to be part of this, and sometimes you get distracted. And you play on the road, and there was a lot of Astros families down in Houston as well, but it's a different atmosphere. You go to the ballpark early, you sit around, think about the ball game, and you're just a little more focused. And you know, I think sooner or later, when they have this opportunity again, they'll understand how to control their emotions and how to get prepared for a game. But I think especially in game 1, they were a little bit over-anxious in game 1.
Quickly 0-2 to Joe Ross.
I think they came in after the 2 wins in Houston and said, you know what, man, we can beat the Astros. We need to put them away right here. And they got ahead of themselves a bit.
Boy, how about that number? And again, this is the last time the pitchers are going to hit in this series tonight. 1 for 57, the pitchers in this World Series combined. That would be a futility record if no pitcher has a base hit tonight. Ball and 2 strikes to Ross.
Miles Mikolas of the Cardinals has the only hit by a pitcher in this postseason. He hit a double.
Yeah, that is a postseason total, not just in the series. And the 1-2 slider got him looking. 3 for Gerrit Cole tonight. Back to the top of the order, Trey Turner, who struck out on a 9-pitch at bat to start the bottom of the 1st. Again, the big story before the game tonight, and it really was a bombshell that hit social media like a ton of bricks. Max Scherzer scratched a neck and back injury that had troubled him earlier in the week. Really hit him overnight to the degree that he needed help getting out of bed and was unable to do much without assistance today. The hope is that if Max can get some therapy, they shoot him up with cortisone, he might be able to pitch later in the series.
because of that, they have kept him on the active roster. They could have replaced him, but I still hold out hope that he might be able to contribute later on in this series. Dave Martinez, we have a meeting with the managers before each game, and he gave us the heads up. Hey, Max is not going to start this game at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Cole thought he had him rung up. A ball and 2 strikes to Trey Turner.
That low strike has been elusive for all of the pitchers in the 3 games here in Washington. They just haven't had the benefit of that low strike call.
Into left, right at Alvarez, who is up to the task, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Garrett Cole. Played 3 complete in Game 5. The Astros on top of the Nationals 2-0.
Catcher to defuse a potential situation there, but Garrett Cole thought he had Turner struck out on the previous pitch of that last at bat.
Alex Bregman, Yuli Gurriel, and Yordan Alvarez here in the 4th inning for the visiting Astros. Bregman hit a ball hard in the 2nd, but hit it right at Juan Soto in left. Look, right before the pitch, Soto is communicating with Victor Robles. They just moved him in about 4 steps in left field.
Yeah, all of these defenders have scouting report cards in their back pocket, and they'll check those from time to time. There's so much information available to the defenses all around Major League Baseball that it's hard to remember all the specifics about 9 different hitters. So they'll carry cards in their back pocket. They communicate with one another. Remember, you got a 21-year-old left fielder and a 22-year-old center fielder helping out one another.
1 ball and 1 strike to Alex Bregman. Ross walked the first batter he faced, then got the double play ball and route to a scoreless first. 2-run homer to Alvarez in the 2nd. Catches a corner to Bregman to even the count of 2-2.
That fastball looked like it might have been off the plate away, and I think that's Bregman's thought. Thought he had a pretty good eye on that last pitch, but it's called a strike.
The 2-2 home. Went back out there again. Why not, if you're going to get that kind of a generous corner? Full count to the leadoff hitter here in the Houston 4th. Back out there again, and this time Bregman sticks around. Alex Bregman is not a guy who loves the ball down and in, but in Game 2 of the ALDS, he took Blake Snell deep on a pitch there. Same location on the grand slam yesterday from Fernando Rodney. His manager, A.J. Hinch, telling us that he really doesn't like the ball down there, nor does he make a lot of contact there. But, man, in the postseason, it's just a different animal.
Yeah, it sure is. And he's been swinging the bat so well in the last several at-bats that he was able to get to that pitch. It's that one right off the end of the bat. Bregman is a very good high ball hitter and good on the inner part of the plate. And you can see his 2 home runs down in that lower part of the strike zone on the inner half. But he is a much better high ball hitter, but he was really locked in against Fernando Rodney, who had walked the hitter ahead of him in Game 3 and then got Bregman to hit into an inning-ending force-out.
The 8th pitch of the at-bat on its way from Ross, and it's a ground ball for Turner. 1 away.
good pitch at 96. That sinking fastball as Bregman tops it to the shortstop. You mentioned Joe Ross has all the weapons. He's got a good arm. Give up that 2-run home run, the only damage so far in this game.
Gurriel singled in front of the homer, and a slider misses, a ball and no strikes to Gurriel.
Yeah, it was a jam shot bouncing ball that went off the glove of the pitcher, deflected toward the shortstop, and Trey Turner tried to bury it. It could make the play, an infield single.
That's whacked into the corner, foul. So the plan with Max Scherzer out there, should he had been able to start, would have been Max as long as possible, and then the front line relievers for the Nationals. And by front line, I'm talking about Daniel Hudson and Sean Doolittle, who were available and fresh. They were available and fresh last night as well. A bouncer up the middle for Kendrick. And there was some discussion last night, Buck, about why they didn't appear when the game was closer in the middle innings.
Yeah, and a lot of people were very critical of Dave Martinez for the fact that he didn't use Hudson, he didn't use Doolittle, and he didn't use Joe Ross in that game because early in the middle innings it was still within a couple of runs. But we criticize managers for some of the moves to make without knowing all the information, and they were well aware that Max Scherzer was questionable for the start tonight, so they had to keep back those relievers. You know, managers, they just don't make decisions by the seat of their pants. They have a lot of information, a lot more than we have.
2 gone now for Alvarez.
Alvarez hit that home run back in the 2nd inning. He's 22 years old and 121 days old. That's the youngest American League player to homer in a World Series since Tony Kubek hit a home run in '57 for the Yankees.
Against the hometown Milwaukee Braves. 2 balls and no strikes, the count to Alvarez.
Alvarez hit a pretty good pitch out of the ballpark. His first postseason home run of his career. We had mentioned that the Astros had identified his problems at the plate were movement. And watch this pitch sequence in the first at-bat. Breaking ball for strike 1. He misses down and in with the fastball. Comes inside again. It's 2-1. And then they make a good pitch, 95 on the outside corner. And Alvarez is so strong, he hit it out of the ballpark to deep left center. He really covered that pitch. He hit 27 home runs in the regular season.
78 RBIs in 77 games. He is a slam dunk for American League Rookie of the Year. Here's another great age note. Second time in World Series history that multiple 22-year-olds or younger have homered, with Juan Soto going deep in Game 1. In control of the count is Alvarez. 3 balls and a strike. Full count.
Good job by Yan Gomes to call for the breaking ball. He just throws it right over the heart of the plate, and Alvarez out in front, expecting to get the heater.
The only hiccup tonight, the homer. "3-2.
You know, we met with A.J. Hinch after the news had reached their clubhouse, and we asked Hinch, how did you find out that Max Scherzer wasn't starting? He said Alex Bregman walked in with his phone and says, "Is this true?" He saw it on social media that Max Scherzer was scratched. And Hinch was caught off guard because he hadn't heard about it yet.
AJ said he was in the video room watching film on Asdrubal Cabrera, who is not in the lineup tonight. The next 3-2 home to Alvarez is bounced into right field, lined it right past the shifted Kendrick. Shaping up to be a big Game 5 for the rookie left-handed hitter Yordan Alvarez.
Well, he showed you in his first at-bat that he's really strong and quick on the inside part of the plate, and that home run he hit was a pitch down and away. He stayed on it. And he gets to that inside fastball. Hinch looking like a genius to start Alvarez in game 5. He knows his players. He knows how they match up, and he had it on his mind after game 2. He went to Michael Brantley and said, hey, be ready. I'm probably going to start Alvarez in left field in game 5.
3 straight sliders to him. And that last one was sent out to right at 100 miles an hour. So now it's Correa who struck out back in the 2nd.
Correa asking the home plate umpire if that was indeed a strike, and he got confirmation of that. That was a good 2-seam fastball moving in toward the right-handed hitter.
Carlos drew 3 walks and scored a run in game 4 last night. The 3 walks tied a single game World Series record for walks by a shortstop. Mark Belanger with the 71 Orioles. The most recent to accomplish that. It's been a swing and miss series for Correa, and unfortunately for Carlos, it's really been a postseason long story.
24 strikeouts in the postseason.
Just able to check his swing on a slider.
Looked like it might have caught the strike zone. That's what Yan Gomes was trying to plead his case by holding that catcher's mitt right there for the home plate umpire to have a good look at it.
Ball and 2 strikes to Correa. Another slider, that one fouled away.
Just not right. We mentioned how many at-bats he's had. He's missed time, 2 separate injuries this season, including a fractured rib, lower back issues. Just hasn't had a full season of at-bats, and his timing is off.
Pretty remarkable that he was able to manage a 21 home run campaign despite all that time missed, as you mentioned. A couple of pretty long stints away. The next 1-2.
Able to get to that inside fastball.
Again, that just, it speaks to the depth of the Astros. If you were to have suggested a couple of years ago, when Carlos Correa was their best overall player, that they'd be in a World Series and Correa would be something less than his usual self, you'd say, well, how did that happen? Who else got hot?
Batting 7th.
The next 1-2, and that one bounces away. It'll give Alvarez a free 90 feet.
That's a tough block for a catcher. That hard slider in the dirt to his right, and Gomes just couldn't get over in front of it. It bounced off his chest protector. He never got in front of it, never squared it up, and you can see how his body is angled and skips right off his ribs over to the backstop. Didn't get shifted far enough to the right to play it off his chest protector.
This has turned into a much longer inning than it looked like when Bregman and Gurriel were retired. This will be the 25th pitch of the inning. Ross, who breezed through the 3rd on a total of 8 pitches, having to work a little harder here. Runner in scoring position in the 2-2. Correa hits a ball to deep left, and that one's going to go 4-0 Astros.
Well, Matt, you mentioned the depth of this lineup. So many good hitters, no matter where they are in the batting order. Alvarez hit a 2-run home run in the second, hitting 6th. And now Correa hits a 2-run home run here in the 4th, batting 7th. They really lengthen out their lineup with terrific bats up and down the order. Correa with 21 home runs in the regular season. That's his 3rd postseason home run. And it's a 4-run deficit now for Dave Martinez.
Here's Martin Maldonado. Line to 3rd, played by Rendon to retire the side, but a once noisy Nationals park has quieted down a bit, thanks to not one, but a pair of 2-run homers. Carlos Correa's 3rd blow of the postseason, making it 4-0 Astros. DR just 7 months into his first term. Adam Eaton leads things off in a 4-0 deficit for the home side in the last of the 4th. Eaton, Rendon, and Soto. Eaton was hitless yesterday. Line to center to culminate a long at bat tonight. There's a curveball that has him behind 0-2.
Another curveball that he has used a couple of times tonight in key situations, and he gets a swing and miss from Adam Eaton. It's a knuckle curveball. He throws it hard. You can see it was 85 miles an hour, but it gets on top of it and gets tight spin. Good break. Comes right
Another
back
one to
with
strike
it
him out. Foul tipped apparently at the plate, and it's still 0-2. Fastball stays high, ball and 2 strikes.
Garrett Cole has such a great delivery, very compact. He doesn't really fly all over the place on the mound, and he is really balanced and stays over the rubber a long time. And then he can locate the pitches, and there's another pitch that he thought was a strike, and I don't blame him.
He and I both.
Yeah, 98 miles an hour, right on the corner, and he didn't get the call. He was ready to watch the ball being thrown around the infield. That's Barksdale has called a couple of good pitches off the plate.
Got him that time.
Might have been a little payback, a little makeup right there. That ball looked like it was off the plate outside, and Eaton's letting him know about it. The breaking ball looked like it was off the plate away. Eaton is called out on strikes. He saw 3 curveballs in that at bat. And watch this break. Knuckle curveball, 86 miles an hour, called strike 3.
A.J. Hinch kind of suggested to us that something like that would be needed tonight to try to slow down Eaton, who has served fastballs into the opposite field all series long. Garrett Cole's thrown 7 curveballs tonight total, and 3 of them, as you mentioned, Buck, to Eaton in that last at bat alone. Ball and no strikes to Anthony Rendon.
And one thing hitters will constantly tell umpires is, hey, this guy doesn't need any help.
Rendon flied to center in his first try tonight. He's hit in 11 of his last 12 postseason games, dating back to Game 2 of the NLDS. You know, back to that curveball of Cole, we kind of talked about it earlier. He doesn't throw it as often as tonight's game may suggest. He averages 15 or 16 curveballs a start. And this is from a guy who's usually out there for anywhere between 100 and 110 pitches. The most curveballs he's thrown to a single hitter in a game is 6. And if he faces Adam Eaton 1 or 2 more times, he might top that tonight. There's ball 4 to Rendon.
Well, great pitchers like Gerrit Cole might give you 1, maybe 2 opportunities to break through against him, and the Nationals already had the golden opportunity in the second. They couldn't cash in on it. Back-to-back singles, first and third, nobody out, and Cole struck out Zimmerman and got Robles hit into a double play. You're not going to get many chances against the thoroughbreds like Cole.
Here's Juan Soto now, singled on a changeup to lead off the second. One out, 1 on here in the fourth as the Nationals try desperately to scratch across some action against Gerrit Cole. A strike to make it 1-1.
Yeah, he's gotten a good feel for that breaking ball. And he's never going to get off of his fastball. That's his bread and butter pitch. He's thrown it as high as 99 in this ballgame. But it certainly is complimented when he can get that curveball into the strike zone.
When Gerrit Cole retires the leadoff hitter, as he has here in the fourth, it is awfully tough to score against him. Opponents have played it a run in only 1 of the 21 innings in which he's retired the first batter in the inning this postseason, and that was at the start of the night. Make it 1 of the 23 innings through Game 5 this evening. Big swing at a high fastball.
Soto, a terrific fastball hitter, and he hit a fastball off Cole for the home run in Game 1. But you can see there's a bunch of great hitters on that list, and they can all wear out the fastball. Slugging percentage against fastballs since 2018.
2 curveballs, 2 fastballs, 2-2 the count to Juan Soto. Another breaking ball. This one's lined into center field for Springer, and there are 2 away.
Soto's made a couple of good adjustments tonight in his first 2 at bats. He just showed you what a great fastball hitter he is. He had a changeup for a base hit in the second, and he sat on that breaking ball pretty good with 2 strikes and lined it to center. He stays back and puts a good swing on it, but he hit it right at the center fielder, Springer. Young hitter making adjustments, middle of the ball game, pretty impressive.
Howie Kendrick singled on a fastball back in the second, and that's when it looked like the Nationals had a great opportunity to get to Cole. They had runners at first and third with nobody out. But Cole responded by striking out Zimmerman and then doubling up Victor Robles. A pair of 2-run homers on the other side of the scorecard. Yordan Alvarez and Carlos Correa with the honors. Let's take you back to the second.
Well, he gave up back-to-back singles to start that inning, and then he had Ryan Zimmerman at the plate, and Zimmerman waves at a breaking ball well off the plate, and then he gets Robles hit one off the end of the bat, a 6-4-3 double play to get Cole out of that jam. It was a great opportunity, and man, the Nationals got to be thinking about not being able to get at least 1 run in that situation. At the time, it was a 2-0 game.
2 balls and a strike. NLCS MVP Howie Kendrick, 3 for 14 in the World Series. Been very good with 2 outs in an inning, as those numbers indicate. Three and one now. In game 1, the Nationals did such a good job attacking Cole's fastball, in part because he didn't have as sharp a breaking ball as he appears to have tonight. There's a fastball hit to the shortstop, Correa, to retire the side. Another left stranded here in the 4th. 4 clean innings by Gerrit Cole to the 5th inning in game 5. Houston continues to lead in to go to work against Ross here, leading off the 5th inning. You know, we're reminded of that slogan around here in D.C. Finish the fight is how they've kind of built things around here. The Nationals, unfortunately for them, have not managed much of a fight against Gerrit Cole tonight. And he'll lead things off in the 5th. Cole, then Springer, and Altuve. Gerrit Cole had a strikeout game in May of last year that A.J. Hinch calls his favorite Gerrit Cole game. He was dominant on the mound, absolutely dominant. 16 strikeouts against the Diamondbacks. However, he was personally responsible for 21 strikeouts because he swung and missed and struck out 5 times himself.
In fact, the last 2 times in that game, he never even swung the bat. He just struck out 5 times. 21 strikeouts that he was responsible for in that game last May.
Grounded out to the third baseman on the first pitch in the 3rd inning tonight. And there's a bouncer for Kendrick at second. When you strike out 16 batters, nobody cares if you struck out 5 times yourself that night.
Not at all. And he said himself, he said, hey, they pay me to pitch, not to hit.
So 1 gone for Joe Ross. He'll go back to work on the top of the order, George Springer. Springer has walked and grounded to 3rd tonight. Nationals kept him quiet yesterday, 0 for 4. And there's a strike. It's 1-1.
You know, you always hear baseball players say, well, I'm not superstitious. No, I don't believe in that stuff. Well, I don't know if that's always true. We saw George Springer today in the clubhouse walking around wearing Michael Brantley's jersey. Trying to get some of that hot Brantley mojo working in his favor.
Good curveball that time, swung on and missed.
High breaking ball, breaks down and away, and Springer not close to making contact.
One and 2 to Springer. I guess if you're going to grab a jersey from anybody in that clubhouse, Michael Brantley's is the one you want.
Yeah, and we asked him about it. Hey, looking for a little mojo, get some of that great Brantley swing working in your favor. He goes, absolutely. Springer came into this game hitting 177 in this postseason.
I'm sure he asked Michael if it was okay. This is not like a, Ruben Rivera grabbing Derek Jeter's glove and then running out the back door situation.
Well, and Brantley's been a terrific mentor for Springer, who's a veteran in his own right, but at the same time, Brantley's helped him with some of his preparation, some of his game planning, and things like that. Michael Brantley's one of those players that commands respect, even though this is his first season with the Astros. He really has fit like a glove here.
Full count to Springer, battling back to full. The 3-2 home, misses for ball 4. You saw Wander Suero up in the bullpen for the Nationals. First time they've heated anybody up down there, and you wonder how much longer the leash is for a guy that has had only 2 innings with the big league team in the last month. I think at first sign of trouble here in the 5th, we'll see Wander Suero.
Suero faced just one batter and got a strikeout in the game last night, and he had a 1-2-3 9th inning in game 3.
Jose Altuve has grounded into a double play and single tonight. Again, creeping up on Pablo Sandoval's postseason record for hits in a single season. 24 and counting this postseason for Jose Altuve. Third time through the lineup now for Ross. Always when a manager peels a watchful eye. Backup sliders in for a strike.
Altuve not only does he get hits, but he drives the ball. 13 extra base hits in a single postseason. 11 for him. He's closing in on Albert Pujols, who had 13. Cruz had 13 in 2010, and David Freese had that great series for the Cardinals.
Recently retired David Freese, announcing his retirement at the start of the World Series. And a very late time take. I think that was the home plate umpire. Was that Lance Barksdale doing that on his own there, Buck?
I'm not sure. It looked like maybe Altuve had asked for time, but he did not move out of the batter's box, didn't make any move. He probably just asked for it as he stayed ready to hit. Watch Altuve. Time. He's asking for time. Altuve never moved.
Wow, Ross was into his delivery.
Yeah. It was a little bit late, but Altuve had requested time. It just took Barksdale a little bit of a delay to throw up his hands.
Extra consideration given to the 6-time All-Star, I suppose. 0-1 the count to Jose Altuve. On the corner, and it's 0-2. Joe Ross trying to grit out 5 innings here under difficult circumstances. An emergency starter. Wasn't told he was opening this ball game until this morning, when it was discovered that Max Scherzer was unable to get out of bed. Scherzer in significant back and neck pain and discomfort, hoping to pitch later in the series. 0-2. Another breaking ball bounced up the middle. Kendrick flips to Turner, and for the second time tonight, they double off Jose Altuve. Taylor made double play ball. Gets Ross through 5. The Astros, however, continue to lead 4-0 Houston. By the Astros. Yordan Alvarez and Carlos Correa making it a 4-0 lead for Garrett Cole, who goes back to work in the 5th. He's going to get a first pitch pop out as Zimmerman is retired.
Ryan Zimmerman is now 0 for 8 since he was knocked down by Josh James in the 5th inning of game 3. That ball up around his head. He didn't get out of the way of it. It just missed him, and it really kind of rattled him. Laid on the ground for quite a while, and since that pitch, he's 0 for his last 8.
Tanner Rainey is now up in the Washington bullpen behind Joe Ross. We saw Wander Suero up. He was there in case Ross had encountered any difficulty last inning. Pitcher due to bat 4th here. And here's Victor Robles. Should the Nationals fail to come back tonight, this is some big time context, they would become just the third team to lose their first 3 World Series home games in their franchise history. And the company they're keeping is barely of the modern era. The Detroit Tigers lost the first 6 home games they played in a World Series between 1907 and 09. And the Chicago Cubs in 1906 lost all 3 of their home World Series games. And Robles goes down with a swing and a miss.
Yeah, I just think that everything kind of sped up on the Astos in game 1, and they were just so enthusiastic and encouraged by beating Cole and Verlander in games 1 and 2 that they probably thought, hey, you know, we can get these guys in our ballpark and we'll knock them out right here, but that's not been the case. And they just haven't delivered key hits. There's no question about it. That's been a difference in these 3 games. They've had their opportunities coming into this game, 1 for 19 with runners in scoring position. As you see Matt Adams, who has come out on deck.
Here's Yan Gomes now. What is your sense for what's going to happen if Gomes is retired here? Do they send Ross out for a 6th inning, or are they going to the bullpen regardless?
I think they'll go to the bullpen regardless. I think they'll bring Rainey in and just say, you know what, we got 5 innings out of it. We're still within striking distance, and let's give the Astros a different look.
Well, we'll get an answer to that question sooner rather than later. A very efficient 6-pitch 5th inning by Garrett Cole. And it doesn't look like Joe Ross is coming back to work. Tanner Rainey is the new pitcher for Washington, going to work in the 6th.
Yeah, he is making another appearance in the postseason. He's done a nice job so far as he has worked out of some tough situations. This will be his 9th postseason appearance, and he's been a little bit inconsistent in his ability to throw strikes. It's really important for him to go ahead and throw the first pitch over the plate, because once he starts missing, it's difficult for him to get back. He needs to start throwing a strike and then go from there. But when he starts off the plate, he has a tough time getting the ball back into the strike zone.
Michael Brantley, Alex Bregman, and Yuli Gurriel to face him here in the 6th inning for Houston. Brantley's been quiet so far tonight. 0 for 2, and that in and of itself is news. Entered play 8 for 17 in the World Series. Nationals bullpen had been so good in the first 9 games since the middle of the NLDS. We started that stat rip. They did not fare particularly well in last night's game 4 here in the World Series. Ball and no strikes, the count to Michael Brantley. Michael Brantley, and we fawned over his skill set already enough in the series, but I think there's some other little numbers we'd like to bring up. He is that rare combination that makes contact and hits the ball hard. Among qualifying hitters during the regular season, only David Fletcher of the Angels had a higher contact percentage than Michael Brantley. But Brantley's hard hit percentage was significantly higher than Fletcher's and many other hitters. In the World Series alone, he leads all players with 9 hard hit balls. You throw him a strike, he's going to get the bat on it.
Well, and Chu, he just doesn't strike out. The most he's ever struck out in 11 years in the big leagues, 76 times. In an era where strikeouts are not even a big concern, but he's just one of those guys that refuses to strike out, gives himself a chance to hit because he puts the ball in play.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Michael Brantley.
A .297 career hitter.
Just able to lay off that 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Tanner Rainey staring in, and now Yan Gomes will begin some diplomacy.
Yeah, and it looked like Lance Barksdale just said something to Gomes that really caught him off guard. This is over the inside corner. Certainly was high enough, but they didn't get a call. I know you have seen that from both sides. Both pitchers have had trouble with the strike zone.
Brantley drives the ball the other way, handled by Soto.
Well, we had talked about Alex Bregman the first 3 games of this World Series. He was 1 for 13, and in game 3, he had an awkward swing. He was really striding a very wide stride, and then in game 4, he shortened up that stride, and his timing is much better. What's the difference in the stride on the left game 3, on the right game 4? He cut down his stride about 5 or 6 inches, and that allowed him to get his foot down quicker, and that bat was through the zone in a much more timely fashion. He was just a tick off in the first 3 games.
One gone for Bregman here, and he sends the ball to deep left field. Soto's got room at the track, however. There are 2 away, and Alex knows he just missed that one.
Yeah, he's had 3 more good at bats tonight. He lined out to left in the second. He hit a hard ground ball to the shortstop in the 4th, and now he hits one on the nose on the first pitch of this at bat. Again, you could see he has that short stride and gets out over that front side and really gets that bat through the zone in a very timely fashion.
2 gone for Yuli Gurriel. Gurriel has singled and scored in front of the Alvarez homer in the first. High fly ball into shallow right. Kendrick calling everybody off to retire the side. A very quick 6th inning, authored by reliever Tanner Rainey. Nats need to get something going on their side of the score.
Series here in Washington.
One for 5 in the postseason. Most of his activity has been seen off the bench. You know, it's got to be tempting for Dave Martinez here, Buck, and I'm kind of thinking about this out loud. Look, they haven't had a lot of guys on base, but from a manager's perspective, Dave Martinez is almost certainly racking his brain. What can he do to get the offense, to get the lineup jump started? Can he send a runner? Can he try to steal a base? There's only so many things a manager has within his power without grabbing a bat and stepping up there himself.
Yeah, when you don't have many base runners, you can't do much. Just ignite the offense. Send up a pinch hitter in this situation, leading off the 6th inning, and hope he gets on base. And he has been a very active pinch hit bat coming off the bench, with just 1 hit so far in this postseason.
Over the top of a curveball, 0-2.
But yeah, we've talked to Dave Martinez about, you know, mixing up the offense a bit, but there's not a whole lot you can do. And interesting, Sean Doolittle is starting to loosen up. Looking ahead to the 7th, Yordan Alvarez is the first batter scheduled for the Astros. The left-handed hitter is 2 for 2 with a 2-run homer, and he scored 2 runs. So Doolittle is going to come in to face Alvarez to start the top of the 7th.
Oh, and 2 to Gerardo Parra. A strikeout once more for Garrett Cole.
6 so far in the ball game for Cole, and he's really mixed up his pitches very effectively tonight. We had been told he'd probably use a few more curveballs tonight. Has been a great weapon for him. But when you're able to throw strikes with your 3rd pitch, basically, it's fastball, slider, cutter, and curveball, and that slider cutter kind of morphs into the same pitch. But you can see he's racking up the strikeouts in this postseason. 6 tonight gives him 44.
Again, if he hits a double-digit total tonight, he would occupy second place on that all-time chart. Strikeouts in a single postseason. Trey Turner's 0 for 2 tonight. Hitless yesterday as well. Now just 3 for 20 in the series.
It's one of the few pitches that Cole has come out of his delivery, and you can see after he threw the pitch, he reminded himself to finish toward home plate. He drifted toward the first base foul line on that last pitch. Boy, pitchers, they send such a positive message when they work as quickly as Cole does. I mean, he gets the ball back. He's got the next pitch on his mind before he sees the sign, and he's ready to fire the next pitch in there. And why wouldn't you if you got the kind of stuff that he features?
Oh, he's feeling good right now. 4-run lead. He's retired 6 in a row, 6 strikeouts all told. The Nationals had back-to-back hits to start the second inning. And they've had only 1 base runner since, and that was on Rendon's 1-out walk. He has been in complete control of this game, Garrett Cole.
Carrying 12 of the last 13. And we talked about it. Great pitchers, they might give you 1, maybe 2 opportunities in the course of a ball game to break through against him, and that 1 opportunity came in the second inning.
Shook off Maldonado twice and comes back with a ball that's bounced to first base. Gurriel dives to the bag, just beating the speedy Turner. Boy, look out for your hands and fingers there.
Gurriel made a similar play on Turner in the 7th inning in last night's game. The same type of ball. It looked like it could be extra bases down the right field line, but Gurriel again gloves it and dives to the base just ahead of Turner, who was chugging up the line. A terrific play.
That terrific look of him smiling as he makes the play on a swim move. 2 out, bases empty now for Adam Eaton, who's 0 for 2 tonight himself.
Cole has really mixed things up on Adam Eaton. He has thrown him fastballs, knuckle curveballs, sliders, cutters. He's given him the kitchen sink so far.
4 of the 12 knuckle curveballs that Cole has thrown tonight have come Eaton's way.
And we talked about Eaton, conscious of trying to hit the ball to left field. And that knuckle curveball is a tough pitch to hit the opposite direction. There's a ball that he was late on.
Yeah, he's had success hitting to the opposite field all series long. Base hit against Cole Tuesday night in Houston. Opposite field against Justin Verlander the next night. And then against Zach Greinke in Game 3.
Yeah, he's just one of those hitters that knows who he is as a hitter. He just stays back and tries to slap the ball on the ground, on the line to left field. And the Astros are well aware of the approach by Eaton. You can see where Alvarez is. He is playing very much over toward the foul line in left field.
2-2 with 2 out and the bases empty. Look out. Well, this is what Cole's done to him tonight.
Yeah, you look at the sequence of pitches. Knuckle curve to start him out. Comes back with a 4-seamer, another 4-seamer, knuckle curve again. And then that fastball at 97, he hits a deep fly ball, but he's retired. Then in the 4th inning, another 4-seam fastball to start the at-bat. He used that knuckle curve very effectively to eat the slider, 4-seam fastball, and then it catches the outside corner. Eaton thought it was off the plate, but he's called out on strikes. 0 for 2 so far.
And he gets him again.
Another different pitch. He has really mixed things up very effectively to put an 0 for 3 on Adam Eaton. That last slider, Eaton caught looking. No problem in the 6 for Garrett Cole.
The 2 home run heroes for the Astros tonight. Alvarez and Correa lead things off as we go to the 7th in a 4-0 Houston lead. Well, the Nationals go to the bullpen for the second time tonight as we hit the top of the 7th inning, and it's still 4-0 Houston lead here in Game 5. Sean Doolittle has been very effective in this postseason, limiting opponents to just 133 average. That's coming off a regular season in which he recorded a career-high 29 saves for the Nationals.
Doolittle into the ball game here in the 7th because of the first batter for Houston. That's Jordan Alvarez, who is 2 for 2 with a 2-run home run and a single. He's driven in 2 and scored 2. There's an off day tomorrow, so Dave Martinez is going to make sure he throws everything he can at this Astros lineup late in this game.
First pitch to Alvarez here is in for a strike.
Alvarez has never faced Sean Doolittle, and there's nobody warming up for the Nationals, so Doolittle at least is going to have this inning.
Former college shortstop fires and misses low. It's 1-1. Again, the big picture story here in terms of Jordan Alvarez, as you can take a look at what these notable relievers Doolittle and Hudson do when they are rested, they are very good. And Alvarez puts it in play, pass to diving Kendrick into right. You said it earlier, Buck, that A.J. Hinch is feeling like he made the right move in rolling the dice to start Alvarez tonight. Well, he's 3 for 3 now.
And they're going to pinch run for him right now, and he has done his thing. 3 hits, a 2-run homer. He scored here. And now with the Astros leading, Jake Marisnick will take over as a pinch runner. Boy, Alvarez has really ironed out his problems at the plate. He's very quiet. The head stays still. He stays on that pitch and gets it past Howie Kendrick for his 3rd hit of the ball game. So Alvarez, making his first start here in Washington, comes up big time with the bat. So now they'll get their best defense in the outfield with Marisnick taking over, and he'll move to center.
Carlos Correa takes the first pitch to third for Rendon, to Kendrick for 1, back to Zimmerman, the double play. And just like that, the bases are clean again.
3rd double play of the night that the Astros have hit into. Altuve hit into 2 double plays, and now Correa on the first pitch. It's a tailor-made ground ball to 3rd. The leadoff single is erased. Marisnick as the pinch runner, and this is a perfect double play ball. Rendon to Kendrick to Zimmerman, and there are 2 quick outs.
So with 2 gone, here's Martin Maldonado now. Maldonado struck for a pinch hit homer in Game 2 of the World Series in Houston, making his first start in the road portion of the series for the Astros here tonight. You hear those what sound like boos in the crowd. Those are not boos. Sean Doolittle is a fan favorite here. They're chanting "do." It sounds a little ominous.
All right, just finished his 3rd regular season here with the Nationals as he came over in a trade from Oakland as they were trying to shore up their bullpen. He came along with Ryan Madsen July of 2017. Well, he's Jesus Luzardo and a couple of other pitchers, and Luzardo has turned into a pretty promising pitcher for Oakland.
Sure has.
Blake Trinan also went from Washington to Oakland in that trade.
Played his college ball at the University of Virginia. Born in New Jersey. Actually born in South Dakota. Grew up in New Jersey. And through all of his travels, I would imagine at the University of Virginia is when he became a Redskins fan. And even Redskins fans don't really claim to be Redskins fans anymore. But Doolittle is still a proud backer of his favorite NFL franchise. And there's ball 4 to Maldonado. Two-out walk. And Garrett Cole will have a third plate appearance tonight for the Astros. That tells you all you need to know about what else is required of him.
Yeah, and we had mentioned that in his previous 4 starts in the postseason, he's gone at least 7 innings, and he's on the verge of doing that once again tonight.
We're not going to try to predict the future here, but there is that possibility that tonight's performance could be Garrett Cole's final as an Astro. He's about to enter the free agent market at the end of the World Series this year. And it's not like he's been taxed tonight either, Buck. That's part of the difference in, 6 World Series innings with traffic and 6 World Series innings without. They haven't been stress innings for him.
No, and the most stressful inning came in the 2nd inning after back-to-back singles by Soto and Kendrick, and then he was able to strike out Zimmerman and get the double play ball. You're right. And it's not that it's not without stress, because atmosphere like this, everything is stressful, but at the same time he's had good command of all of his pitches. You can see where he stands as a free agent, entering his free agent year, prime of his career, coming off his best season ever.
He's only had to face 4 batters from the stretch tonight. He's hanging around. This is his longest plate appearance of the game. And the 1-2 pitch gets him swinging. A scoreless 7th authored by Sean Doolittle. Nationals are running out of chances tonight. However, we hit the 7th inning stretch. Washington has the meat of their order in the last of the inning. Rendon, Soto, and Kendrick 4. Well, on a night when the Nationals had to scratch their 3-time Cy Young Award winner Max Scherzer because of back and neck injuries, the story tonight has been the guy on the other side of the scorecard, Garrett Cole. Brilliant through 6 shutout innings of work and a pair of well-timed 2-run homers. 4-0 Astros is the score, and with that late lead now, A.J. Hinch can go back to a more comfortable defensive alignment, putting Michael Brantley back in left, Jake Marisnick taking over in center, and George Springer moving to right.
Marisnick came on to pinch run for Jordan Alvarez, who had started in left field. So now this is their best outfield defense, with Marisnick in center, Brantley back in left, and Springer in right.
Anthony Rendon leads it off here for the Washington Nationals in the 7th. Rendon, Soto, and Kendrick. Soto and Kendrick have the only 2 hits tonight against Garrett Cole. And Rendon is the only other man that's reached base. He walked in the 4th.
We said this early on, when you have an opportunity against a pitcher like Garrett Cole, you better take advantage of it. And at 1st and 3rd, nobody out in the 2nd, and couldn't score a run.
High fly ball into foul territory. Just out of play. Garrett Cole has struck out 7 tonight. I mean, he flirts with double digits every time he takes the ball. And what he did in the division series was nothing short of amazing to the Tampa Bay Rays. He struck out 46% of the batters he faced. We're not talking about just the outs he recorded. The batters he faced, almost half of them were strikeout victims in 2 starts.
He's got so many great weapons.
Rendon with a drive out to left, and that's going to hang up for Brantley. Off the bat, it looked like that had more of a chance. 1 gone.
Well, one thing that makes Garrett Cole very difficult is the way he releases his pitches, and they come out of the same spot. Take a look at his arm angle on the fastball and then the arm angle on the curveball. Same spot. So a hitter is looking for that release point, and it's very difficult to determine one pitch from the other coming out of his hand. And then the spin obviously takes the breaking ball down into the zone. The fastball carries right through the strike zone. And he's got a terrific delivery with a great repeatable delivery that he can throw all of his pitches from that same release point. That's really challenging for hitters. First pitch slider at 91. And he just throws so many strikes. 28 balls he's thrown, 88 pitches in total. He has been pounding that strike zone all night long. You could see that he had a pitch on his mind, and Maldonado was late offering that particular pitch.
There's the strike to ball distribution that Buck was referencing. Soto singled on a changeup and then lined out to center on a curveball in his 2nd plate appearance tonight. 1-1.
Garrett Cole has 7 strikeouts. He believes he should have about 10. He's made pitches earlier in this game that were called balls on 2 strike pitches.
Fastball blown right past Soto at 97. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
He has attacked Soto in every quadrant of the strike zone this evening. Soto has actually hit the ball hard a couple of times. He lined out to center in the 4th. He had a base hit in the 2nd to right field. Just 2 hits for the Nationals.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Soto with the ball well hit to center field. Marisnick looking for room, leaps, and that one is gone. Washington finally gets on the scoreboard. Juan Soto's 2nd homer this World Series against Garrett Cole.
Boy, Soto has made some impressive adjustments. He hit a changeup into right field for a base hit in the 2nd, lined out in the 4th to center, and watch this pitch up out over the plate. Not that different from the pitch he hit against Cole in Houston. A fastball up and out over the plate. He stays on it and drives it over the fence in center.
And there's some energy back among this sellout crowd in D.C. on a ball that Jake Marisnick just missed.
Boy, he timed it perfectly, didn't he?
Two balls and strikes to count to Howie Kendrick. Perhaps that jolt of life that the Nationals have been looking for since 8 o'clock tonight. And it comes from a 21-year-old second-year player. Breaking ball's in for a strike.
Take a look at the pitch, a four-seam fastball that runs away. And Soto got on it. This is what's really impressive about Garrett Cole. He can throw pitch after pitch late in the ball game and still reach back and hit 97, 98 and make a good pitch with it. It's not like he's really reaching for velocity. He's executing a pitch and he's still maintaining that high velocity. 99.
Ooh, reaching back for a little extra.
Yeah. And you know what? You can do that when you have such a clean delivery because everything is really smooth and you know you're going to be in the zone. You know you don't have to exude extra energy.
Got him swinging. 8 for Garrett Cole tonight.
The first baseman.
Matt, you made a point early in the ball game how many times that the Nationals hitters fouled off fastballs. They were on his fastball pretty good, and he made the adjustment. He introduced the knuckle curveball and the slider very quickly into the ball game, and all of a sudden he's got 8 strikeouts again.
Ryan Zimmerman struck out on a curveball back in the second and then fouled out in the 5th. Much like Justin Verlander, who we'll see Tuesday in Houston. Cole reaching back for more velocity the deeper he gets into the night. 1-1.
Boy, he makes every pitch with a purpose. He throws a pitch, he acknowledges what the pitch does, and makes the adjustment for the next pitch.
Until this very moment, nobody had been up in the Houston bullpen, but Ryan Presley has just gotten up to begin an assignment. And there's a fastball at 100 miles an hour in for a strike.
Yeah, he probably senses that this is going to be his last inning. So he's trying to end it right here. 1 and 2 outs.
Up over 100 pitches now. Breaking ball misses, and it's 2-2.
Hear what he said? Good take. I mean, that's a ball player right there. He acknowledged to the batter that he took the pitch, and he hollered out, "Hey, good take. I made a good pitch with the curveball."
Was that Cole that said that?
I think it was.
Who does he think he is, Mark Fidrich? 2 balls and 2 strikes to Zimmerman. Let's take you back to the previous pitch.
See him acknowledge Zimmerman. I mean, that's a ball player, man. That is so cool. He made a good pitch, and he respects the hitter for being able to lay off of it.
Full count to Zimmerman, 3-2. Zimmerman took Cole deep Tuesday night in Houston. Unbelievable. Oh man, he just missed. There has been frustration with the strike zone on both sides of the scorecard tonight.
Well, we have seen Yan Gomes turn around with a similar reaction, the Nationals catcher. And now AJ is going to come out, and I don't think he's made up his mind yet. I think he's going to go out and talk to the pitcher right here.
Yeah.
He has so much respect for Kevin Cole, he's going to check with him. This looks like strike 3.
Oh, man. I didn't see a glove move, did you? Hit his target, and yeah, AJ's...
He went out to check with Cole, make sure he's okay. He said, yeah, let me finish this inning. And he thought he had on the last pitch he threw the slider. Looked like it was in the strike zone, didn't get to Cole. And now Maldonado says, wait a minute, what was wrong with that pitch? I mean, you don't see this very often in a big league game where both catchers have turned and questioned an umpire's call on a potential strike 3.
Victor Robles is 0 for 2 tonight. He was 1 for 3 against Cole on Tuesday in Houston. A 2-out base runner aboard. And the first pitch to Robles' slider off the plate. Tying run on deck in the form of Yan Gomes. And again, the catching depth of the Nationals is not what it was before Kurt Suzuki was injured. Fastball just powered past him.
Suzuki injured his hip flexor in game 3, had to come out of that game. He left after the top of the 6th.
1-1. Final out of the inning, proving a challenge for Garrett Cole. Soto's 1-out homer gets the Nationals on the scoreboard for the first time tonight. 2 balls and a strike. On the corner that time. Well, he stuck by his convictions. He keeps going out there.
108 pitches and literally hasn't lost a thing off his pitches. Dustin Verlander will get the ball in game 6, matched up against Steven Strasburg.
The 2-2. Biggest pitch of the night so far on its way. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Tying run standing in the on-deck circle. A run in with 2 away. Zimmerman will be released on the pitch, so something into the gap has a chance. There he goes, the 3-2 home. A called strike 3. It's the Nationals expressing displeasure with the strike zone this at-bat.
Boy, are they ever. Kevin Long, Dave Martinez from the dugout. And that strike zone has been all over the place in this ball game.
And now the fans having access to the replays of that, getting into the act. Robles rung up on a pitcher's pitch to keep it a 4-1 Houston lead.
That's
all right, to the top of the 8th inning, and some changes defensively for Washington as Drupal Cabrera enters and takes over at second base. Howie Kendrick moves over to first. Cabrera will bat in Ryan Zimmerman's spot, or the pitcher becomes Ryan Zimmerman's spot rather. And the new pitcher himself is the right-hander Daniel Hudson.
Dave Martinez used Sean Doolittle in the 7th, and now he's called upon Daniel Hudson here in the 8th. It's a 3-run game.
Top of the order here against Hudson for the Astros. Springer, Altuve, and Brantley. Some real frustration in the ballpark over the strike zone of Lance Barksdale. And you saw the reaction that called strike 3 got on the Nationals bench.
I think we have seen all night long the umpire hasn't had a real good night behind the plate. Both teams upset with the strike zone. We saw it in that at bat to Robles where Garrett Cole was upset by a pitch he didn't get called, and then the final pitch looked to be up and off the plate away, called strike 3.
0-2 to George Springer. Into the right center field gap, and it's off the base of the wall. George Springer's first hit of the night is a leadoff double here in the 8th.
We'll go back to the last half inning and look at the at-bat to Victor Robles, a man at first, a run in, and Garrett Cole throws a breaking ball away for ball 1. Goes after that fastball, swings and misses, then the ball off the plate, another fastball. That's the pitch that's right on the corner. But here's the pitch that Cole throws down and away. That pitch is off the plate, called strike 3. It looked like it was 4 inches off the plate. Robles was upset. Cole gets the strikeout, but he had made pitches earlier in the game that he thought were strikes, called balls.
Leadoff double now, Jose Altuve, who has singled and hit into 2 double plays tonight. That's bounced up the middle. It'll advance Springer to third. There's 1 away. Boy, if you're Dave Martinez and you're under doctor's orders to try to take it easy, which Dave is because of a heart scare he had after the All-Star break. I mean, Dave's not even allowed to have caffeine.
Yeah, and it's a difficult ball game to try to control your emotions.
Oh, man.
They have given the intentional pass to Michael Brantley for a second time to bring Bregman to the plate in this series. They had an intentional walk Bregman in the 6th inning of game 3, and he hit into a fielder's choice. But they really had no option now, trying to set up a potential double play to get them out of this inning. Well, Brantley with the intentional pass, he has gone 0 for 3 with the walk so far.
On Alex Bregman's mind right now is the fly ball that'll get a run in and wipe that Soto home run effectively off the board, reclaiming the 4-run lead. Bregman did not double himself up often during the regular season, grounded in only 9. And on the first pitch, a fly ball. Likely not deep enough. Eaton is there for it to make the catch, and everybody's got to hold on.
Boy, Hudson has been so good in these situations all season long with the Blue Jays prior to the trade to Washington, and since he's come over here, he has pitched so well. He took over as the closer late in the season. Interesting season for Hudson. He began the year in spring training with the Angels. The Angels released him. The Blue Jays signed him. He pitched very well and ends up here in the World Series with the Nationals.
Yuli Gurriel singled and scored in front of Alvarez's 2nd inning homer. 104 RBIs during the regular season, one of their best run producers.
Every close pitch now getting a reaction from this Nationals crowd.
And Gurriel pops it up. That's going to get into the stands behind the plate, out of play. During the regular season, Yuli Gurriel was a .282 hitter with runners in scoring position and 2 out. When the Nationals bat in their half of the 8th, they'll have Gomes, Cabrera, and Turner. 6 outs left to try to come back tonight. A ball and 2 strikes to Gurriel. The Nationals have been held to 1 run or less in each of their last 2 World Series games, and that's something that happened only 1 time during the regular season.
Boy, again, Cole and Verlander having an extended conversation, and that tells me for sure Garrett Cole's out of the game.
Yeah.
He's taken off his game face.
On the appeal, no swing, and it's 2-2 to Gurriel.
Gurriel with those strong hands, and you can see the barrel. Never commits to that baseball. He checks it.
Two balls and 2 strikes. 2 on with 2 away in the 8th. Gurriel with a base hit back up the middle past a diving Turner. Springer scores. Yuli Gurriel comes through again. 5-1 Houston.
For Gurriel, his 12th RBI of the postseason. He's such a tough out in those situations. You mentioned the average during the regular season, batting with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. A big RBI single for Gurriel here in the 8th. And a tough pitch, a fastball down around the knees. It gets through the infield into center. His best offensive season this year. He drove in 104 during the regular season, and now he's got 12 ribbies in the postseason.
First plate appearance now for Jake Marisnick, who entered as a pinch runner in the 7th. Ryan Presley's all hot and ready to go in the bullpen for the Astros. Joe Smith has joined him down there. Fastball at 96 puts Hudson in front 0-2. Two in the 2nd on the Alvarez homer. 2 in the 4th on the Correa long ball. And then a big 2-out RBI single here by Yuli Gurriel. Ball and 2 strikes to Marisnick.
Another close pitch. That slider down and away. Hudson reacted as if he thought it was a strike.
The 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Marisnick got the start in center field last night and had a couple of base hits. He was a member of the 2017 World Series team, but didn't make a start that year. The 2-2 pitch, and Hudson misses again. Well, now the fans are just, I mean, they're primed for this. That pitch misses the strike zone, but anything close and the home plate umpire is going to hear about it.
Yeah, that's not even close there, but the fans have reacted to earlier calls.
Brantley and Gurriel aboard with a run in and 2 away. There goes Gurriel from first, and Marisnick strikes out. Nothing further in the Houston 8th. They do tack on a 5th run, however, on the big 2-out RBI single by Yuli Gurriel. 6 outs left for the Nationals, now trailing once again by 4 in game 2 when they scored 10 runs in the final 3 innings of that game in Houston. They just haven't done anything. 3 runs in their next 25 innings of World Series play.
That's kind of what we expected in games 1 and 2 against Verlander and Cole, but they were able to put up some runs in those 2 games. Now Joe Smith comes on for his 9th appearance of the postseason, and he has been money. 7 1/3, just 3 hits, and he's been very efficient. He's pounding the strike zone, not throwing many pitches in each of his outings.
Gomes, Cabrera, and Turner here for the Nationals. Joe Smith struck out a pair in a scoreless 8th inning on Friday night. He was credited with his 2nd hold of the postseason. Joe had never pitched in a World Series before this year, despite almost 800 regular season outings.
He has averaged 12 1/3 pitches per inning. He's just really efficient. We mentioned this is his 9th appearance of the postseason. 3 times in those 8 previous appearances, he's thrown 6 pitches and fewer. He throws a lot of strikes, fastball, and that frisbee-like breaking ball. And something that he has really discovered is, naturally you think a sidearm is going to throw that slider down and away to right-handed hitters. He can freeze them when he starts it at their hip. They have a tendency to dive guarding against that slider, and he can throw it inside and get some good at-bats.
Leadoff base hit here in the last of the 8th. That's just the 6th base runner of the ballgame for the Nationals, including the Soto homer.
Smith has had his problems with Yan Gomes. Gomes is now 4 for 8 against the sidearm. Asdrubal Cabrera came into the game as a defensive replacement on the double switch back in the 8th. Top of this inning.
Roberto Osuna's up for the Astros. Nationals fans thinking optimistically about getting Rendon and Soto to the plate with runners on. And it's 0-1 now to Asdrubal Cabrera.
Smith doesn't give up many home runs, but the only 2 home runs he's surrendered this season have come off the bats of left-handed hitters. And they have only hit .229 against him. Right-handers really baffled. They have hit under .200 against Smith.
Foul ball up the line. Cabrera drove in 3 runs in Game 2 of the World Series Wednesday at Minute Maid Park. A single game career postseason high for him. Gomes with the leadoff single aboard. On the appeal, he went around. You bet. Strikeout for Smith, and there's 1 away.
Yeah, that's what we talk about with Smith throwing so many strikes, and you always have to think that it's going to be pitch in the zone. Cabrera trying to check his swing, but he goes too far.
One out, 1 on for Turner. Turner's 0 for 5 yesterday. Ended his 25 consecutive games reaching base streak. Hitless again tonight. And those sliders proving a lot for him.
And again, Smith quickly ahead 0-2.
Adam Eaton waiting on deck behind Turner. Into right field where Springer had him played perfectly.
like Springer had a little trouble with that ball getting up into the lights as he kind of throws his hand up, effort to shade his eyes from the bank of lights behind the Nationals dugout, but he's positioned in the right spot.
Two gone for Adam Eaton now. Two walks, 3 singles, and a homer. That's the entire Nationals offensive attack tonight.
They had just 4 hits in the game last night. A single run and 4 hits. Yeah, I don't care who's pitching for you. You get 1 run on 4 hits, you're not going to win many games. And they had an opportunity. Back-to-back singles to start the inning. Nobody out first and third. Ryan Zimmerman waves at a breaking ball way off the plate, and then Victor Robles hits into a 6-4 3-double play. That was the best opportunity at that point. It was a 2-0 game. They score one of those runs, and it's a totally different story. But Cole was up to the task.
Eaton behind 0-2.
When you're a sign-on pitcher like Joe Smith, it is so advantageous for you to throw a lot of strikes because hitters are trying to adjust to a different release point. And the quicker you get them out, the less information they have. If you throw them a lot of pitches in a particular at-bat, they've got a time to adjust to that release point. By throwing strikes quickly, they have to commit. They don't get a lot of good reads off Joe Smith.
Rendon would be next with 2 away should Eaton keep the inning alive. Gomes opened with a single. Cabrera struck out. Turner lined to right. The 1-2. Garrett Cole did such a good job on Adam Eaton tonight, and Eaton was one of his problems on Tuesday in Houston. Had a couple of hits against him, but Cole kept him 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts tonight.
He threw him so many different pitches for strikes. It really made it tough for Adam Eaton. He threw him fastballs, knuckle curveballs. He threw more knuckle curveballs to Eaton than any other hitter in this lineup.
The next 1-2, and Eaton pops it up. Gurriel to retire the side. We're going to the 9th. The Nationals strand a base runner. To the top of the 9th inning in Game 5. Houston on top, 5-1. Is the longest streak of its kind in World Series history. If the road team hangs on tonight and they've got a 4-run lead, it will be yet another World Series record set. Carlos Correa has been a part of the problem for the Nationals tonight. He has struck for one of the 2 2-run homers. He leads things off against Daniel Hudson. And that, sir, is a snappy jacket.
And they have 2 of them. The youngster's got one as well. Pretty sharp.
A ball and a strike to count to Correa. Correa, Maldonado, and then the pitcher spot for Houston. The Astros certainly wouldn't say no to some more insurance here. They have kept the Nationals in check all night long. Just 4 hits for Washington. 1-2.
Washington scored 3 runs in 26 innings in this 3-game series in Washington. They just haven't been able to break through at all. And tonight they haven't had any opportunities. 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. That's been it.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Correa as we start to think about Game 6 in Houston. where Justin Verlander will take the ball for the Astros. A chance to close out the World Series with the front runner for American League Cy Young honors, and a guy who has already kind of stamped his ticket for Cooperstown. That is assuming that the lead holds tonight, of course. Wow. Nobody can get a call on the outside corner tonight. And it's been the case on both sides of the scorecard.
No, it has been really inconsistent. And another great fastball down and away. The low strike has been non-existent in this series. They just haven't called many low strikes, and the pitchers need that pitch.
Full count, 3-2 to Correa. A high drive to center field. That ball's well hit. Robles back, feeling for the wall to make the catch. Boy, Carlos Correa just missed his second homer of the game.
Well, I tell you, I've been impressed with Victor Robles in center field. He saw that ball off the bat and didn't hesitate. He turned, put his head down, and ran to the warning track where he thought the ball was going to come down. Watch the center fielder. He is shaded to right center. He turns and puts his head down and just runs to the spot and waits for the ball to come down. Terrific instincts for a young center fielder. He does a great job out there.
Martin Maldonado is 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Joe Ross went the first 5 for the Nationals. And to reset what was the big story pregame, this was supposed to be 3-time Cy Young Award winner Max Scherzer on the mound in Game 5. He was experiencing neck and back discomfort the last couple days. The Nationals were hopeful he'd be able to make a start, though in the back of their mind they knew the possibility existed that they would have to pivot to someone else. And when Scherzer woke up today and needed help getting out of bed, it became clear that he was not available this evening. So Joe Ross started in his place and gave up the 4 runs in 5 innings.
You saw Roberto Osuna loosening up for the 9th inning, but it doesn't really make any difference who's pitching when you're only going to score 1 run.
That's a good point. A ball and a strike to Maldonado. Knowing the kind of competitor Max Scherzer is, there's just no chance anything other than significant pain was going to keep him out of this game tonight. There's a base hit for Maldonado. Scherzer spent the entire morning with physicians. He did arrive at the ballpark in time to have a press conference and address the media as to his physical status. He and the Nationals remain hopeful that with cortisone and some therapy, he'll be able to pitch in Game 6 or 7. 7 being the more reasonable option, I would think.
Well, and you mentioned the fact Verlander scored to pitch Game 6 for the Astros, and Steven Strasburg is going to pitch for the Nationals, and I don't think it's a done deal just yet. Strasburg was terrific in his start in Game 2, and through a side session yesterday, got his work in, primed and ready on regular rest. So I don't think this thing is a done deal so far. Strasburg really threw the ball well in Game 2.
First offering to the pinch hitter Kyle Tucker is taken for a ball.
That one's off the plate, and fastball with late life. Well, Verlander will get his second start in this World Series.
Two balls and no strikes to Tucker. Fans around here waited a long time for a World Series game in D.C. 1933, the last time the Fall Classic was in this city. They didn't think they'd have to wait still another year to see a home win in D.C.
Yeah, especially the way they came back home for Game 3, up 2-0 in the series. And it looks like they'll leave and head back to Texas, down 3-2 in the series. But Dave Martinez looking ahead to his lineups and exactly where they are. Rendon, Soto, and Kendrick. The schedule matters in the 9th inning.
I mean, would you foresee any kind of a lineup change for Game 6, given the kind of the stall that they're in right now?
I don't think there's much you can do with the top 4 spots in the order. Turner, Eaton, Rendon, and Soto. I would expect to see Asdrubal Cabrera start at second base.
Yep. He's got numbers against Verlander.
They can use Kendrick as the DH as they're back into the American League City. I don't know if Kurt Suzuki is healthy enough to get a start. He's certainly healthy enough to be a backup catcher,
yep.
but that extra day's rest might allow him to start behind the plate in Game 6.
And Tucker's a strikeout victim, 2 gone.
But Strasburg has had such a great season. And you look at the way he has been able to pitch to Kurt Suzuki. Suzuki had a base hit and a home run in Game 2. And he had that go-ahead home run off of Verlander. So hopefully with an extra day's rest, he will be healthy enough to make that start in Game 6 for 2 reasons: to catch Strasburg and to hit against Verlander.
Swing and a miss by George Springer. Springer doubled and scored that insurance 5th run in front of the Gurriel 2-out single in the 8th inning tonight. Continuing on the conversation we had last night, we're no closer, even though now we're 5 games into the World Series. Generally, by this sense, you have, or by this time, you have some sense of an MVP candidate or candidates. It's wide open right now still.
Yeah, it sure is. Michael Brantley's had a lot of hits, but he's been shut out tonight. 0 for 3 with a walk. Alex Bregman's had some big home run swings. Yordan Alvarez, the big swing of the night, 2-run homer in the 2nd inning. Carlos Correa. Yeah, there's a lot of candidates right now. And of course, Juan Soto on the other side. He's had 2 hits and lined out his 3rd plate appearance tonight. He's got 4 home runs in the postseason, 2 in the World Series. So yeah, there are several candidates, but no clear-cut leader right now.
Yeah. I think if the Astros end up winning the World Series in 6, whoever from the group of Altuve, Brantley, and Bregman has the big Game 6 is probably the front runner for the award. But again, we're a long ways away from that. That's just down the road speculation. Steven Strasburg might be in the mix as well.
He comes up with a win.
Yep. Oh my, absolutely drilled to left and gone. The 3rd 2-run homer of the night for the Astros, all but salting away Game 5.
Well, George Springer paraded around the Astros clubhouse in Michael Brantley's jersey prior to this game, and he has 2 hits. Hits a 2-run home run, been on base 4 times, and you can bet he'll have Brantley's jersey on before Game 6 as well.
That's going to be all for Daniel Hudson.
They are feeling it in the Astros dugout for sure.
all Houston in D.C. again tonight. George Springer homers again in a World Series, and this one was hit a long way.
Fastball out over the plate, and he squared it up. He didn't miss it. That's his 4th home run in the postseason. He's had a couple of great at-bats late in this ballgame.
Wander Suero's been up and down a couple of times in the Nationals bullpen. Finally gets into the game, albeit under circumstances other than what he would have preferred. It's a 6-run deficit. Jose Altuve bats. Suero making his 4th appearance of the postseason. Altuve centers up a ball and lines it to center to retire the side. Well, it would have been a tough mountain to climb down by 4. The 2-run homer by George Springer makes it a 6-run lead for the Astros. It'll be Rendon, Soto, and Kendrick hoping for one last gasp. Down by 6. A trio of 2-run homers powering the way on the other side of the scorecard. Garrett Cole was absolutely terrific for 7 innings. And it'll be Presley in the 9th.
Yeah, they switched things up once they had 2 more runs on the scoreboard in the top half of this inning. So Ryan Presley will come on and try to close things out here. No reason to expose Roberto Osuna to this Nationals team in a 7-1 ball game. Give him another look at Osuna. No reason to use him here.
Opportunity for Presley to get out there and exercise a few demons. He was cuffed around in Game 2 of the World Series. 0-1 the count to Rendon. Into right field. A nice recovery by Springer, who started back, and the Nationals are down to their final 2 outs in Game 5. And it begs the question, could this have been Anthony Rendon's final home appearance as a National?
He's a free agent after this season. It's the last game of the year for the Nationals in this ballpark. More than likely, he has had his final at bat here.
Here's Juan Soto now. His 7th inning solo homer, the only run of the night for the Nationals. Soto has 2 of Washington's 4 hits.
That home run is 4th home run this postseason.
Big, heavy breaking ball swung over the top of, and it's 0-2.
Dave Martinez's ball club just haven't been able to swing the bats in this 3-game series here in Washington, and they'll have to regroup and go back to the drawing board. Face a tough challenge in Game 6 against Justin Verlander.
With runners in scoring position in the 3 games here in D.C., 1 for 21. That kind of lack of productivity requires their starters just pitching shutouts every night, and that's just not a reasonable expectation. One-two pitch to Soto, and he swung the bat on the appeal. There are 2 gone. The Astros 1 out away from being a win away from a World Series title.
Soto going after that high pitch, clearly went around, and he strikes out. And Presley gets 2 quick outs here in the 9th.
Howie Kendrick has singled tonight. One of the 4 Washington hits. 43,910 here in D.C. Sold out crowds for all 3, of course. And crowds that haven't had a whole lot to make noise about. And there's a fine line between, great pitching, and certainly the Astros have benefited from that, and a lineup laying an egg. And there's been a little of that too.
Yeah, but you really got to compliment that guy right there, especially with what he did in the second inning when he gave a back-to-back singles in a 2-0 game and got a strikeout and a double play, and that was the only threat that he had to endure.
Into right field and just fouled. I think the one that the Nats are going to look back on with regret was Friday's game, when they went 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position and stranded 10 base runners. That was the night that they had opportunities and just lacked the big hit. The last 2 nights, a run on 4 hits both nights. It just, they haven't had opportunities.
Not
really.
even close there. But on Friday night, we're down 2-1 in the 5th. When the Astros scored another run, made it 3-1, and they just couldn't get anything going. They struck out an awful lot in that ball game, and that was the difference. They couldn't come up and put the bat in the ball. And as you mentioned, 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position.
Oh, 2 the count to Howie Kendrick.
Yeah, you talked about possible lineup change once this Astos team goes back to the American League ballpark. The DH, they'll probably have Kendrick in that role. Justin Verlander will be on the mound for his second start. Verlander gave up 4 runs on 7 hits in 6 innings plus 2 batters in game 2. Interesting how they utilized the situation. Yordan Alvarez was the DH in game 2, and he had a base hit on a changeup against Verlander. Check that, of course, it was Kendrick who was the DH.
On the ground for Bregman. And the Houston Astros are 1 win away from their 2nd World Series championship in the last 3 years. Garrett Cole among their heroes tonight. 7 strong innings. George Springer hitting 1 of the 3 2-run homers that powered the way. And Houston continues its DC roll. The winner of Game 5 in a best-of-7 World Series that was tied 2-2 has a great opportunity to go on and finish the business.
Well, A.J. Hinch made the call and put Yordan Alvarez into the ball game in left field, and he came up big with a 2-run home run in the second, and that got Houston off and running. And then from that point on, Garrett Cole took it, and he pitched another terrific outing. 5th time in this postseason, Garrett Cole has thrown 7 or more innings in a start.
Frustration for the home faithful, who will have to wait another year for a World Series victory at home. All Astros for a 3rd straight night in D.C. 7-1 the final score tonight. We're back with you next for Game 6 coverage from Houston on Tuesday. For Buck Martinez and our entire crew, Matt Vasgersian saying goodnight from Nationals Park. Thanks for watching Major League Baseball International's special presentation of the 2019 World Series. We'll see you Tuesday in Houston.
Баскетбол, хоккей, бейсбол, автогонки. Смотрите канал Viasat Sport в отличном качестве на любом устройстве в онлайн-кинотеатре VIP Play.